Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1503. It's a sleep in Wednesday. It's also trash and recycling day. Happy hump day. I went to bed and I slept in. I went to bed at I think 8:45 last night. I was tired. I did 5.5 hours on eBay Live yesterday. We're going to talk about that. And sometimes eBay Live sucks. Actually, yesterday was the first time where it was like, oh, this is a grind. But I'm going to tell you why. So yeah, I went to bed early last night, and I woke up at like 6:30, which is sleeping in if you go to bed at 8:45. I think I didn't fall asleep till like 9:30, but 6:30 I'm awake and I'm like, F it, I'm not getting up. I'm gonna go back to sleep. I went back to sleep for like an hour and woke up, took my time. Here we are. But I wanted to get some sleep because today's a long day. I'm going to hit it and we're going to be shipping all freaking day. And then tonight we're going live. So I probably will be live until 11:30 tonight. So expect another late episode of Hobby Evolution tomorrow. So, but it was still overall, it was a good day. Like if you would have asked me 2 months ago, or if I would have told you, like, here's how much you're going to make on a Tuesday morning on eBay Live, and I would have been like, hell yeah, sign me up. But now, like, my expectations have been blown out of proportion, and so it was disappointing. We're going to talk about eBay Live. What else? My Cubs are sucking, man. What is going on with my Cubs? I don't even want to talk about it. Ugh. Another loss to the stupid Cardinals yesterday. Ugh. Cubs suck. Hey, my garden's growing well. Yesterday was a nice day yesterday. So I was on eBay Live until what time did I have? 5.5 hours. So it was like 3:30. And I decided I'm done. Like I'm done for the day. I did get some shipping done before. Did I do some shipping in the morning? Yeah, I think I did. But anyway, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. I'm done for the day. And so I'm like, I just need to get outside. I need to, as the kids say today, touch some grass. So I went outside and touched grass. So I got my weed eater out. I went down to the pond, and we've actually had quite a bit of rain here over the last week. So the weeds have really sprung up. Pond level is up. It's good. Now it's at a good level. And so I went down. I had a lot of weeds growing in, so I wanted to get my path down there and weed eat an area for me. So I did that. I was gonna go get some bird feed, but I'm like, the birds can eat. It's been raining a lot. The birds can be carnivores this week, eat the worms. Checked my garden. I weeded my garden. I did pull some weeds. The one that my wife told me to gently suggested that I should pull. I got that out of there. I had to get gloves for that because it's one of those prickly. We had like when we moved into this house, the previous owner did not take care of the yard at all, and it had those prickly things were like everywhere, and so we still get them growing. I mean, it's not as bad as it was a year ago. Certainly not as bad as 2 years ago, but there are still they still pop up. So we had a big one popping up next to the house, so got rid of those. Checked on my garden's growing. The tomatoes are really coming in nice. I think I'm going to pick some lettuce and have a salad today. The peas sprouting, but I haven't got any fruit, although I did plant like a month later. My lettuce and peas were planted a month later than last year and 2 years ago. So garden's coming in nice. I had a couple beers. We had sushi. So it was a nice night. We finished watching what was it? The Waterfront, which was good. And then so that was good. I probably only watched half of it. So it's one of those, but I don't really watch TV. So it's not something that I'll go back and watch again. But it was good. So yeah, we're going to talk about eBay Live. Live selling sucks. Okay, I say that as clickbait. Live selling is awesome, but yesterday it did. Yesterday was like, man. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why yesterday sucked. The 90 Fleer Sunflower was with us yesterday in the room. The 90 Fleer saved me. If it wasn't for the 90 Fleer slabs yesterday, and I got those at a price where I was willing to run them yesterday. My other slabs, like I wasn't going to run my Caitlin Clark slabs, my Cal Ripken Jr. rookies, my vintage. I'm still a little leery on running some of those vintage slabs, but I ran the 90 Fleer. Christian here. I don't know if he's in the chat this morning, but I bought those. They were delivered midstream, so I went upstairs and I'm like, all right, let's just blow them out. And we did a whole bunch of 90 Fleer. I think it was 51 total 90 Fleer slabs, and I'm down to, I didn't sell them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 left. So I went through 41 of them, 41 slabs. So yeah, it was, I mean, overall it was like, I can't complain. But I did, and I will, but it's also my expectation. So we'll talk about that. Let me get into the chat. Let's say hello to the chat. We are late today because I went to bed early. I slept in late. We'll probably make it a quick one because it's already 9 o'clock. I've got to get Ernie to school and then dive into, I'm sure I have well over 200 orders to ship. I want to look at my eBay numbers, see where I'm at. Brian is in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Card Safari is here. Good morning. Tracy, what's happening? Peter's in the house. Good morning. He says, I'm thrilled you're doing so well with eBay Live. Drink. Are you finding that you're also moving a lot more volume than before? Oh my God, without question. Without question. In fact, looking at my numbers, my quantity sold this year is up 20% over last year. And of course, that it's really grown in the last 2 months. I was probably, well, we can look. So I started eBay Live like the end of April. Let's just run this through like April 15th. 041520. So April 15th is kind of a good cutoff mark of before eBay Live. These are my numbers year over year. Oh, hold on. I got to switch this to 2024. Okay. All right. So my numbers January 1st through April 15th this year compared to the same period in 2024, my net sales were up 9%. 9%. Remember, my target was 40. So this is through April 15th. My quantity sold was up 3% year over year. Now let's extrapolate, or not extrapolate, but let's change the figures out. And now let's do year to date. So through, and we're going to go through yesterday, June 24th. My net sales, remember, what was it? 9% through April 15th through June 24th, year over year. My net sales up 121% from 9% through April 15th to up 121% through yesterday. My quantity sold up 20%. It was up 3% back in April. So I'm moving obviously a lot more in inventory and a lot more in volume. My average sales price is up 44%. Same period last year. So those are some eye-opening numbers. So let me tell you, live selling doesn't suck. Even though I may say I may have pouted yesterday. But when you're selling like $15, like Malik Neighbors on Sunday, rookies, $15. Yesterday, $1. Caitlin Clark, some of them were selling for like $50 on Sunday. Yesterday, $3, $4. Now, that's probably what they should be selling for. But when you see the crazy, and it's not like it was like a onesie twosie type deal. with the Caitlin Clark. It's like every time I was running a Caitlin Clark, now it would decline. Like the first couple were like way up here, and then they would settle down into like the $15, which is still a pretty crazy number. So we'll see what Caitlin Clark does tonight. I did something I don't think I've ever done before. I may have experimented with it a few years ago, but I've never really put money into my eBay store on Facebook advertising. But I did that over the past week. I don't know what type of I can look. There's like no engagement, but it's also an ad that doesn't really strike engagement either, and that's on me. I probably should have used ChatGPT and said, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Here it is. So yeah, it's only got 8 likes, 2 shares. Okay, so there are a couple people that I don't know that did like it. But let's see the insights. I don't care about likes. Like if it only has 1 like, but it draws people in and people click the link and come to my sale tonight, that's what I care about. So it's got 5,400 views. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it drives some people. And if it drives a few people and they put bids in, that'll help. So we'll see. And again, like this is the only, like, I'll do it again. Like I will play around with the advertising on Facebook and maybe even Google Ads. But, it's something that I wouldn't do it for my eBay store because it's, I don't know. I just don't know if, especially selling low end cards. Although I deleted, I'm going backwards, baby. My store inventory, probably under 100,000 cards now. I took down box 29, gone. No more box 29 inventory. That's all going to eBay Live. Which my next sale, I'm not sure when my next eBay Live is tonight at 7 p.m. And that's Women's Basketball Wednesday. WNBA tonight, 7 p.m. Central on eBay Live. I was thinking about Friday because I'm going to have to still play catch up tomorrow and maybe into Friday. My wife is going to New Mexico on, I think, Saturday she leaves. So maybe I do a Saturday night live. And that actually, I did one a couple weeks ago and it was highly successful. And then, of course, we'll do Sunday night singles on eBay Live. So I'm not going to schedule anything yet. I think that did hurt. I think not scheduling. I didn't schedule yesterday's eBay Live until yesterday, like 2 hours before the show, which is a huge no. So that's completely on me. And that's what I need to get better at is I need to get better at planning ahead. And it's still difficult because some weekends I'm like this past weekend obviously is somewhat of an outlier. I mean, until now has been an outlier with the amount of work that I had to put in leading into the show. This weekend I don't have anything going on. I'm not going to any shows. I'm not doing anything. So I can just devote my entire weekend to getting caught up. And then hopefully that puts me on a good plane. But then July is all over the place because we're going to Maine. I've got the National at the end of the month. So, and then, then we're going to be playing catch up from there. And then obviously there's just and then August, we're going to be back with July, also the 2-day Madison card show. August, we've got, and I've got to take that into account for Sunday singles next month. And then August back to the Alliant Energy Center. So, all right. TD Sports Cards, what's going on? Good morning. John is here. He's got an update from American Airlines 2161. Group 7 through 9 had to gate check their carry-ons. Group 1 marked safe. Yeah. See, that happens to me. I'm a bum in Group 8. I'm not a peasant like a Group 9. Give me a little slack. Birds not subject to group boarding. They have their own wings. Sunflower says, I cut out partway yesterday. Did you sell all 50 Fleer slabs? 40. I think I sold 41 out of 51. 41 out of 51. And it was funny. So, and I messaged Christian afterwards and said, hey, I got them, and I already moved most of them on eBay Live. And it was I think it was a good sale for him, and it's a good sale for me. I'm gonna make a profit on it. Now there were some one sold for as low as $1. A PSA 9, Phil Pressey, I think it was Phil Pressey, sold for $1 plus 99-cent shipping. Actually, it was probably from somebody that had bought before. Let's see. The checklists were selling for higher than a couple of the players. The Joe Klein PSA 9, I think Mark Price PSA 9 only sold for $4. That was shocking to me. Joe Klein, not shocking. $1 was kind of shocking. I thought $5, maybe $4. I guess with the 99-cent shipping, I thought maybe $4 would be the low. I didn't think any would sell for lower than $4. Oh, I wasn't even paying attention. Who am I looking for? I thought it was Phil Pressey. Oh, maybe it was David Wingate. Was it David? Does anybody remember who was in the room? I don't know. Sunflower might not have been in there. It might have been David Wingate that sold for $1. A PSA 9 David Wingate. But there were some I think maybe one PSA 7 of a common that sold for like $7. I think Buck Johnson even sold for. It was Paul Pressey, not Phil. Paul Pressey. Paul Pressey sold for $1. I think David Wingate sold for $4. But the 10, and I did well. The 10 that I have left, I have two commons. I have a Dan Shays PSA 9, Daryl Walker PSA 9. I do have a Jordan. I have a Jordan 7, all Fleer Jordan. I did sell the Larry Bird outsold Jordan on the base. Here's the All-Star Bird. I think most of them are All-Stars. All-Star Isaiah Thomas. All-Star Magic Johnson. I'll probably save these for Sunday singles because we know how well Sean Kemp sells. Here's a Sean Kemp rookie. David Robinson in a 9. A Gary Payton rookie. That should do well. And Karl Malone. So 8 of the 10 are solid with 2 commons. Jody, good morning. Gem City Card Show in the house. Good morning. Sometimes the bus route changes and you got a bike, and sometimes you get a flat. The ups and downs of selling. So I'll touch on this. And that's usually I've done really well. Pretty much every time I've been able to find, and I have such a diverse inventory that I usually have enough stuff around me that it's like, okay, well, and I just try, I'm just going to put this out and see if there's any action. I didn't have that yesterday. In past live auctions, even when it's been okay, there's just not much energy in the room, I've been able to pivot and find something. Sometimes it's early 80s baseball. Sometimes it's vintage. Sometimes it's yesterday, I guess the only thing was 90 Fleer basketball slabs. Sometimes it's a Jordan run. Sometimes it's prospects, Bowman top prospect inserts for one of the shows. I wasn't finding that yesterday. And it's like, all right, what do you guys want? Well, we want Tom Brady. You throw Tom Brady and there's one bid. And the person who requested it didn't bid on it. It's like, where are you at? But I also get if I'm in a room and the seller is saying, what do you want? And I say Cubs, I'm not necessarily going to bid on if he just throws up a random Cubs card, I just might not want it. So I understand that. So, but yeah, yesterday I just couldn't find anything. I was throwing everything that I could. The only thing I couldn't, I had a box of vintage that, when I was organizing, Thursday, and now it looks like I've got a freaking mess before I cleaned up. I think this is just what I'm going to have to live with. Just a mess. Going to have to live in a mess. Barry says, where do you purchase your bags from for shipping multiple orders? The multiple places. Sometimes I order them through Columbia Hobby. Sometimes I order them through Cardboard Gold. Sometimes you can get them on eBay. Sometimes if I just need, like right now, I need them for tonight. So I'll probably run to Walmart, and there's, in fact, actually Target also. I think the last time I had to buy a couple and I got them from Target. So Target, Walmart has them. Yeah, these are from Target. These are the Target brand Card Guard. I can't remember what Walmart uses. Ultra Pro maybe. So there's a lot of places. Columbia Hobby, Cardboard Gold, BCW, Ultra Pro, going to Walmart, Target, Amazon. And you can get small team bags, or you can get graded team bags. I like graded team bags because they're bigger. So I can put a small amount of cards in, or I can, sometimes I can fit a 50 card lot in one of those. Good morning, Mark. Unicorn Cupcake, good morning. Uncle Rich in the house, good morning. Cooter's here, good morning. Rich says, and thank you for being late. I get to listen live, and go Ernie. Go Ernie. Pup of the month. I knew he was destined for greatness. He is. It's Ernie month for another week. Sunflower says, were you tempted to cut it at about 4 hours? That was tough. Yes, I was. And it really dragged. And I did cut out early. I eventually, because everything was selling for $1 at the end, and it's just like, so I'm pulling stuff that I don't care. It's like, okay, I'd put this in a quarter box. So if it sells for $1, it sells for $1. That's the point I got to towards the end. And I think I had 275 auctions scheduled, and I'm not going to do that. That's just, it's too long. Even sudden death, 10 seconds. Because I did some lots where it was like 4 minutes. All the slabs had extended bidding, so obviously that's going to be longer. So I decided, I'm like, okay, once we got down to the end and I'm getting one bid on everything, I'm like, all right, we're just going to end this at 3:30. I'm going to go till 3:30. No matter how many auctions we get through, we're either going to get through 275 auctions, or we're going to cut it off. I think I cut it off 3 or 4 auctions short. So it was time. It was time. And you're right. It probably should have been cut at about 4 hours. The problem, though, is I do have to pay for the insertion listings. So when I list the auctions, I pay 15 cents per listing. But in a live setting, I have a much better opportunity to sell those. Unless if I would have cut it 4 hours short, I might have had 100 listings that wouldn't have sold. That's $15. So if I decide to go for another hour, I get all that money back for all the, I get the refund on the 15 cents because they sell. So that's why I was, but now for the future, it's like, okay, maybe I don't go this long. And maybe, if it happens again, maybe I do cut it short. Like, screw it. What's $15? You kind of have to look at it. It's like, at that point, like, you realize, that, okay, even if I sell quarter box cards that basically I have nothing into, if I applied a price to them, they'd be a penny. So I'm still making $1. And if I can do 100 auctions at $1, that's 100, or I cut it short, I eat 15. It's kind of like, oh. But in some instances, it might be worth it. How much are my expenses up? Oh, quite a bit more. I would say I don't have my spreadsheet out, but I can tell you this month I've spent, let's see, in the month of June, I've spent about $5,000. What did I spend last? Let me see if I can bring my spreadsheet up. Get all of my eBay Live. Where's my taxes? 20. So, okay. So this would be it. I forget since my business calendar goes through September, I'm like a year behind. All right. Those are gross sales. Where's my expenses at? Expenses. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Inventory. So in June, I spent just over 3,000 last June, and I'm at about 5,500 probably this month. So I've only spent like $2,000 more on inventory. Big reason, big part of last June was the estate sale, which was a pretty good expense last June. And then there was quite a bit of retail. I was still buying quite a bit of retail. How much retail have I bought? I bought very little retail this year. So my expenses aren't that up, are not higher, as high as I thought they might be, higher than last year. I knew they'd be higher than last year. I just didn't think it was that small of a part of a dollar amount. Rich says, to be honest, the sound issues you were having did not help your sales either. And I still don't know what happened with that. Have no idea. There were no issues on my end. All I did was click, and I think that only lasted for what, 2 auctions maybe. The only thing I did was I'm like, it's my phone. Like, you can't mute. I guess you can mute your phone. I don't know how. Phone wasn't muted. It's not like the microphone where I can see. It's not like I can just do that on my phone. So I have no idea. I clicked stop, and then I started it back up, and then all of a sudden you could hear sound again. So I have no idea what was going on. I'm pretty sure that was a back end issue on eBay. Most of the time when people have sound issues, it's because they don't click the its default mute, and people don't click the microphone. I have the same guy time after time. You're muted. I can't hear you. And everybody else, there's sound. Every freaking time. It's like, you're freezing. Everybody else, no, it's fine on my end. Same person every time. Cooter says, what is the percentage increase April 15th to now versus same period last year? That will tell you the true step change. All right. Ooh, this is good. All right. April 15th, 2025 to 6/24. April 15th, 2024. All right, here we go. All right. April 15th through June 24th. This year over last year's same period, my net sales after postage and fees up 234%. Quantity sold up 42%. My average sales price per item up 62%. How about my buy it now? Buy it now down 65% because I'm not putting anything up. So there you go. Net sales up 234% from April 15th through June 24th. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you, sir. Philly Joe, good morning. Cody's in the house. Good morning. Box 13, he survived. Box 29 did not survive. Box 13 did. The person who says he hates to plan is starting to realize that he has to plan when he is on the AOR. Airwaves. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, maybe that's why I hate planning, because I had to plan so much when I worked in radio. Like, oh my God. Like the planning that goes into radio shows, creating a clock. Oh, Ugh. I'm having nightmares thinking about that. Because I would put together, actually, the most fun, but also the most work and planning that went into anything I did was I did a local sports 1 hour local sports show year round. Now, we're not talking like big market. We're talking Galesburg, Illinois. And you know how much local sports is going on in the summer? You're interviewing little league coaches. And to put an hour show together. Now, I also ran some national headlines, but for the most part, all of the interviews, for the most part, I did an interview. If it was, I tried to keep it relevant to the area. So I would interview, like, if it was like Chason Randall, he was Mr. Basketball at Rock Island, went on to Stanford, played in the NBA a little bit. They were in the same conference. So, that was something. Duncan Reed was the head coach at Rock Island, longtime head coach. I think he was an assistant at Kansas at one point. That was relevant to the area. So stuff like that. So it wasn't like Galesburg, Monmouth only sports. It was relevant to the area. So, but the planning that went into that on a daily basis to produce a 1 hour local sports talk show, local sports show with interviews and where it was like, you're all the way down to like the little league and all that. I mean, fortunately, like Galesburg, Monmouth was a big enough, like you couldn't do that in Anawan. Like you couldn't do a local sports show. I don't know if you could do a weekly sports show in Anawan. Sunflower says, I think a key is to make slabs more rare. Selling a bunch in a row made people try to get bargain prices or not bid at all. That's absolutely a fact. And you see it with Caitlin Clark. That first Caitlin Clark that goes on sale sells for $60. And then the second one sells for $50. And it's like, wow, this shouldn't be selling for $50. And then all of a sudden it's like the more come out. It's simple supply and demand. So yesterday I kept throwing them out because we had action. You were there. Nothing else was getting any action. Like I had to do something. And I knew what I had into these slabs. So I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid to take a couple losses. And I did take a few losses. But I also had a few big wins. And that's what live selling is all about. You make up for the losses with the big wins. And some of the Caitlin Clarks, I think I took a lot of losses yesterday based on what I paid, but I also made some big wins, and I've made other big wins. Like Sunday night was insane with the amount that some of the stuff was going for. So in a normal stream, I probably would have done what you're saying here, but yesterday was like a completely different animal where nothing was selling. So like, and there just wasn't much bidding. Like it was yesterday's audience was just wanted deals, which I get. Like I totally get as a reseller myself. I think the audience skewed bargains and resellers, which is okay. But I also have to pump the brakes on what goes up for auction, because I'm not going to throw a slab that I bought for $30 and it might only sell for 12. Like it's like, I'm not going to take as many risks, but at some point it's like, we got to throw something just to get some energy in the room. And I would throw stuff out there and it just like a fart in church. Mark says, you really need to put a calendar out on your social media with all your shows and times and titles for the show. I do. I really, really do. Also yesterday, I think one of the biggest faux pas I made, the biggest was not scheduling it until 2 hours out. That was huge because people look at eBay. They're looking at eBay Live. All right, what time is all this? And maybe they did it first thing in the morning. Maybe they did it the night before. So that was my biggest mistake. My second biggest mistake, I don't think I promoted yesterday's show at all, besides this show. I didn't put it on Twitter. I didn't put it on Facebook. I didn't put it on the Madison Card Show page. I didn't put it on Instagram. I didn't put it anywhere. I didn't send out an email and I'm going to send out a newsletter. I'm going to write that down right now. Send newsletter for tonight and for Sunday with links. So after I get done here, I'm going to make coffee. Actually, I'm going to make coffee, take Ernie to doggy daycare, and then come back and get this scheduled and send out a newsletter on eBay. George, good morning. John says the key robust is finding suckers with no self-control. America had no shortage of that. Calling LRS. George says, I listed 21 slabs today on a local forum and got no buying action, only likes. LOL. I did put my my boxes on Facebook Marketplace. Sal Dougie's going to come by tomorrow and grab some. I had somebody yesterday like, I'll probably buy a bunch. Are you around tomorrow? Or this was 2 nights ago. You around tomorrow night? I'm like, yep, just give me a time. And he never gave me a time. So, but I've had a lot of interest. And of course you get a lot of like, can you send me more pictures? And I'm like, I took pictures of like 4 boxes. That's basically what's going to be in there. Like that's what's there. It's diamond quarter boxes. So no, there's not going to be any Michael Jordans, Tom Brady's, Kobe's, none of that. But there might be some gems in there. Who knows? John says sometimes you need to check the bus news and check your tires before you get on the bus or the bike. Billy Zane made it very clear in Titanic that we have to make our own luck. That is true. George says, so probably going to give them 1 or 2 weeks and they will be off to Uncle Rich to list and auction. There you go. John says, relying on an unending list of suckers to overpay would keep most titans of industry to lose sleep night after night. I envision 4 round eyes in Korea just selling cards to each other over and over again, sometimes buying their own cards back. I think Harvey Dent also taught us a similar thing about making your own luck. When's the next Madison Card Show? July 26th. Saturday, July 26th, Sheraton Hotel, which is now the Madison Marriott South. And I think they now have new signage up. So I will start calling it the Madison Marriott South, formerly the Sheraton. I had like 4 or 5 people come up to me this past weekend at the show at the Alliance saying, hey, I thought the show was, so you're moving the hotel show? And I'm like, well, it's just every other month now. Well, no, it's at a new hotel. I'm like, no, it's not at a new. Yeah, it's at like the Marriott now. And I'm like, it's the same hotel. And I think I even put in the Facebook post, formerly Sheraton. People don't read. God damn. When can we ever like change the tide? Like people are reading less and less. Like reading comprehension. I have shitty reading comprehension and I feel like a genius when it comes to reading comprehension because of oh no, it said, I'm like, no, here, read. Remember the electricity guy from Saturday at the Alliant? Well, you told me I want my booth. I want a refund on my booth. Well, will you split the electricity charge? No, I'm not going to do any of that. Well, this is probably going to be my last show. I went through and looked at the messages. Guess what I told him? Not guaranteed. Does any part of not guaranteed lead you to believe you're going to get electricity at your booth? Reading comprehension. So the next Madison Card Show, Saturday, July 26th at the Sheraton Hotel, 706 John Nolan Drive, which is now called the Madison Marriott South. And then we're doing the Pokemon show on Sunday, July 27th. And then, because I'm a glutton for punishment, we turn right around and go to the National. I'll go down, even though we can check in on Tuesday. I need Monday and Tuesday to myself to get completely caught up since I'm going to be out of town for 5 days. So I'm going to drive down Wednesday morning to the National, check in on the day of. So I might squeeze in a Sunday night singles on after the Pokemon show. John says, I also use the bag that the team bags come in for larger sized items, such as the 1964 Topps Giant. Yes, I also use the team bag for larger sized items. They do come in handy. Jody says, you own a 250 table card show. Can't you get your bags there? Probably could. I think I only have one dealer that sells. Well, this month I only had one dealer that had them. I think Steve, who's also on eBay Live, sports card grading. And then Paul from BCW usually. I think he has team bags also. There you go, July 26th. You're not far off with that assessment, John. LOL. The locals will like your sales post, but they won't buy it. Even if it's a 10 to 20% discount over comps, they would rather overpay on eBay by gambling on an auction and then have to pay to ship it here. LOL. 35% more. Good morning, Florida baseball card dude. Max says nearing double. John says, did your parents pick up the other line in the middle of the auction? That used to be the cause for these types of outages. Yeah, right? I'm on the internet. Are you wearing earbuds while auctioning? No, that would be logical to do so. I am not wearing earbuds. Brian says, I don't like earbuds. I really don't like headphones. And again, that's probably goes back to my radio days, having to wear headphones 12 hours a day. Brian says, I got 2 policy violations this week. 90s Griffey promo I've had since the 90s, and others are say they are counterfeit. Yeah, that happens. Broder cards every once in a while get tagged. Fortunately, I haven't had any issues with that, but I do know some people get tagged with those policy violations. Other is vintage Playboy. There is a nipple. Cooter says 234% increase year over year. That does not suck. No, that does not suck at all. That does not suck. Nipple violation. Tough. Duncan Reed was enemy number 1 in Quincy. He sure was. Brian says was a painted on shirt. A bit chilly. You can cover the nipple with a Band-Aid. Slabs are as rare as Michael Jordan's illegitimate children. Does anyone have an opinion on the BS that is SGC will be shut down? It is not even worth the potential monopoly legal fees to do so. Does CGC and others to avoid possible antitrust issues? If so, does CGC grade enough cards? Yeah, the CGC grades a ton of cards. In fact, actually, let's bring it up on Twitter. Somebody reposted. Actually, we can just look at, is it Gemrate? I really don't know. I know this has been talked about on various podcasts, but so let's see. So that's daily. So let's share the screen. I hope not, because I like SGC. No, we don't want to share that. Which one do we want? Here we go. All right. So there we go. So this was the most recent week. PSA graded 306,000 items. CGC graded 111,000. SGC graded 40,000. Beckett 15,000. So I don't know what a monopoly. So that's total items graded. Like if you take PSA and SGC, and I know this is a very small sample size. It's only 1 week, but just to use this as a gauge, 346,000, like really is 346,000. I don't think you can say that's a monopoly. PSA and SGC. And these are just the 4, like you got Tag, you've got all of the other BS grading companies. So PSA and SGC are already under the same ownership group anyway. So SGC and PSA have the same owners. So it could be shut down. I don't know. I hope not, but it's possible. And some of the moves that have been made lead me to believe, well, maybe it's a possibility. But it's certainly not going to lead you down a monopoly antitrust type stuff. Brian started a new eBay store yesterday. Vintage nudie mags, knives, bongs, etc. All crap I got with cards at auctions. That's awesome. That's awesome. Ricky Williams card with bong. Nice. Max is going to be like that for a year or two. Just move it back if you don't want to deal with it. Brian is the name of the SME. Dudes read the first 3 words of a sentence and assume they know the rest. Women read the whole sentence. George says, Brian is the name of the new eBay store. Puff and Snuff. Did the National this year, or is it still in Cleveland? Cooter says, people in power rely on the ignorance of the American people. So stop reading. You don't want to be one of those educated elites. John says, I have to wear headsets all day while on site. It's a great excuse to pretend I'm talking to someone else. That is the benefit to wearing headphones. I often put headphones on in the airplane and don't even have anything. Sometimes if my headphones run out of battery and I'm not plugged in, I will still wear them just so nobody talks to me. So it also makes me look like Warren from Something About Mary. No one cares about SGC anymore. Stop crisis acting. PSA is building an office, same building where SGC is. You did not even have the link of the show and your information about Hobby Evolution yesterday. I know, because it wasn't created yet. That was my number one. I didn't schedule it. I scheduled it after Hobby Evolution. No monopoly. Antitrust hobbyists and their theories. We should fix potholes before launching antitrust actions against card goobers. Unicorn says, I would say 90% is monopoly, but judges are like buttholes. Everyone is different. Cooter says, the current regulators don't give a crap about antitrust for billion-dollar corporations that control markets or market access, so they really don't give a shit about anything in the hobby. Yes, ignore the macro problems and focus on the micro. Good point. So SGC isn't a problem. No. All right. I think that's all I had. So hopefully there's definitely good promotion for tonight's show. Link is in the description. I'm going to send out a newsletter on eBay. I've been running Facebook ads promoting the WNBA show. So hopefully it's a good event. Tonight, 7 p.m. Central on eBay Live. I've got some shipping to do. Ernie's got to go to school, and I need coffee. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. on eBay Live.